everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. You're watching P3, the place where we feature individuals who have tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Jamie Terrazas, and today I am super blessed and grateful to be with the awesome Valerie Pineda. She is the founder of a fashion PR agency, and I can't wait to hear all the awesomeness that is going on out in California with you, Valerie. How are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you for asking.
You are so beautiful. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said it's beautiful out here in LA.
I know, that's one thing, I lived out there for 12 years, and that's the one thing that I miss, that and the sushi. It's so good. Of course, the beach and the water and all of that. Actually, you're from San Antonio. I'm from San Antonio, yes. I believe, right? Aren't you originally from here?
Yeah, born and raised. Mm-hmm.
The point is, this girl is a Texan, a San Antonian who had some big dreams and aspirations, and she did some really brave things. So Valerie, I don't know where you want to start with your story, girl, and how you really started to understand what your P3 actually was and how you illuminated it and how you started to honor it and really embody it on a daily basis. You guys have to follow her on her Insta page. She's so inspirational.
Well, it's been a journey, that is for sure. I think the fashion industry is probably one of the hardest industries to break in. Not everybody, but it's like one of those, oh, I want to be a designer. I want to be a stylist. You think it's glam and fun, and no, it is hard work, so much dedication and so much testing of your character. You are around high driven people that don't care about your feelings, don't care about your problems. They just want the job done. And I feel like that's where a lot of the misconception is in the industry. But for me, it started, 10 years ago. I always wanted to work in fashion. And one of my friends from high school was living out in California. And I was a waitress at the time. I think I was like 24, 25, waiting tables, really didn't have, I didn't know what I wanted. I was just living at, having my own apartment, and just paying my bills and just trying to figure what I want to do in my life. But I always knew I loved like clothes and fashion. Friend came to visit, told me about the Art Institute. She's like, you need to go, you need to apply. This is something I just think you should try. So I did it. I went out, I never been to LA, and I did like a 3-day trip, visited the school, and I got accepted. And it was pretty awesome. So within a year I moved out to LA. And I was there for 2 years, and it just wasn't working out for me. I missed my family so much. I think I was just not ready yet. So I moved back home, back to Texas. And because I went to LA, the film industry in San Antonio, it's very small. And once somebody heard that I did film, I went to the Art Institute. I hadn't done film yet, but I went to school at, in fashion. So I was asked to do a small movie for free, interning out in San Antonio. And that's kind of where it started. Like, we started doing like 4 or 5 feature films. I was working with different crews and really connecting with the people in Texas. And, I learned a lot. And that's where I was like, I really think that I want to do like costume designing, like in the movies. Like, this is what I want to do. This is going to be awesome. And that was kind of my goal. Like, now I'm back to waiting tables again. Now I want to go back to California to pursue, going to do costuming. But during that time, I also found a styling school called the School of Style. And I wanted to go to that school so bad. But it was so expensive. I'm talking like $5,000 for 9 days.
Oh my goodness.
9 days. And I dreamt of that school. It would seem like the coolest thing. It was these 2 celebrity stylists. They started a school. So let's just kind of fast forward. I'm following them for like 3 or 4 years. It's kind of like at that time in my life, I would think about things that I wanted. But then, I don't know, I guess I would somehow like self-deter myself. Like, you can't do that. That's too big. I don't know. I really was just more of a thinker, and then, not really putting into plan that this could actually happen. Because at that time, waiting tables, that kind of money just wasn't happening. Well, unfortunately, my dad had suddenly passed away, and I was super close to him. So in 2014, he passed away unexpectedly. And I remember just being obviously devastated. But then he was a very responsible man, and he left us all some financial money to, what do you want to do in life? So I ran with it. And by January 2015, I booked my ticket to LA, and I purchased my certification classes for the School of Style. And that changed everything, like everything. So this is kind of where now it all the journey has begun these past 5-6 years to where I, am going and, today. So that's kind of the backstory of how I got to LA, and I went to my dream school, and it was amazing. And that school has been the game changer. I have met so many people that have opened doors for me. And from that person, they gave within 2 months of living out here, I booked a movie to be a costume designer with Sharon Stone out in Petaluma for a month. And I was working with the guy from Sons of Anarchy, Tommy Flanagan. I was working with the guy from Sex and the City, dressing them. I hadn't really had experience out here in LA. So that job was one of the most challenging for me. I remember Sharon Stone was you better have this ready for me, and you better have this. And I was just oh my goodness. I'm so grateful for that experience, because the main actress of that movie, her and I are now really good friends, and she plays an intricate part of my life now and my business that I'm starting. And at least a good 5 or 6 people from that film are my hard, core support fans, and really have opened doors. So it's pretty cool. So that's kind of where it started. I went to the School of Style. Then I started doing a little bit of film, and, I did about 2 years of film out here. And then I realized I don't want to do film. It's funny. You think that you want, it's a journey. So fashion has so many different, elements of it. There's, and as you're going through it, you realize there's so many creative jobs in it that it just doesn't have to be this one thing.
I love that you said that, because when people have an idea of maybe getting into the entertainment industry, and there is a job in particular they think of, it really is so amazing to see how many different ways that job can be done, Yeah. And so it does open up your mind in a lot of ways. And what I love about you is that when you go into something and you go in wholeheartedly, and then once you realize, oh, I think it's this, or another door opens, you're oh, let me go into that door. You know what I mean? I'm sure you discerned for a hot second, but now it's almost as if for a while you were operating from your head, early on in your life, and not dropping down into that heart and that passion, where then that drive and the motivation where you actually take action. But I want to just say, congratulations, and for being so courageous in investing that amount of money. But that takes a lot of self-belief to invest in yourself in that way. That was a big act of self-love. So I just wanted to pat you on the back really quick.
Oh, thank you. Well, when you get a certain amount of money, you want to be smart, right? Yeah. And smart, not, oh, I need to save, because I think I believe different. And I felt at that time then, this was kind of my dad saying, hey, when else is this chance? Obviously later it could happen again, but at that moment in my head, I'm when is this going to happen again? So I remember I got online and I was what do you do when you blah, 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 win this or get this kind of financial whatever? And I read, going back to school, and it just dawned on me, when I learned something, no one can take that away, right? But if I got a house, let's say, and then I couldn't keep up to that could be gone. And then there's everything my dad left. So to me, that was the way of teaching myself, no one can take these skills away. You can try to copy, imitate, because that's happened, but you can't, replicate what's in your head. And so that, like I said, that school just opened so much for me. That was the best investment till this day. Like, I'm able to go to that school and get interns to help me out, you know. The networking, I can't explain it. It, like I said, I know I've said it a few times, it totally was just like a game changer for me. I even got to go speak at that school a year later to talk to the students. And I remember just like, it's one of those moments, you know, like I was telling you in the beginning, how I really would just think of things that would happen or want it to, but not. Now it's a whole, I practice a whole different, like I do mood boards and meditate and all those things. We'll get into that. But at that time I really wasn't doing that, like I said, but I remember that was like a real surreal, cool moment.
I remember actually when you posted that, I think you posted a picture or a video, something about it. And I was just like, yes, girl, that's so awesome. And going back to, like you were saying, now you have a different mindset. But I think something about that self-belief is really what like got you there. You know,
you know what, I'll tell you what it is, where once I lost my father, I've already lost my mother, by the way. I lost her when I was 19. So I lost my mom. Once I lost my dad, it's like, who cares? Let me just go after it. Like, I don't know, like you couldn't take anything from me. You already, because the biggest thing already got taken from me. Like losing my father was my biggest fear. So what am I grateful of now? And that's kind of like, I really just thought, you know, like if I lose, I lose. If I don't, but you're not, the worst has happened, you know, and that's kind of where I just kept going for things that were out of my comfort zone, you know. I would do decorating because that's something I do for fun. And like people were actually hiring me to do that, you know, so now it's like, it's so different. But yeah, that's kind of where I really had nothing to fear anymore, you know. Before, when my dad was alive, I don't know, I was more, I can't explain, like in a box.
Yeah, like you were caged in and trying to play it safe. And then suddenly it was just like,
yeah,
you know, like a bird just coming out of the cage. And then what's really crazy and interesting that I love about it is that, you know how sometimes like a bird would come out of the cage and then maybe kind of open up the wings a little bit, and then when you came out, you were just like, whoa, and then you were like, I'm flying, you know what I mean? Now I'm granted, I know it's taken time for you to really own those wings 100%,
yeah,
do some real cool stuff with them, you know, but metaphorically speaking, but it's almost like when you got those amazing opportunities very quickly without having to quote unquote pay your dues, as someone would say, right? And in your case, you paid money and invested in yourself and devoted that time in those 9 days. And then you put it into, like, you use what they gave you, and then you really ran with it. Because I'm sure there's some people that pay the money, go through it, and then don't get all that you got.
80% of them will go on 1 or 2 internships and they're like, oh no, this isn't for me. And I just was like, there's something bigger. I you know, there's something bigger, and it just kept leveling. And believe me, there was like struggles in it, you know, there's always highs and lows. You know, when you lose something that's the most valuable, like what can you take? So I'm going to just go for it. Like I have nothing to lose. Yeah.
There's a metamorphosis that takes place. You were talking about a journey and a quest, and kind of how you think you want one thing and then suddenly you realize, oh, this is more interesting, and all this. It's almost like an adventure, this explorer attitude and outlook. Did you always have it as a kid?
I think I've always been independent. Like I never liked to be told what to do, ever. Like it just, you know, like even my dad had a hard time. Yeah, so I've always been very independent out of everyone in my family. I think I'm like one of the first people to actually leave and kind of do this, now that I think about it. Yeah,
that's
in my
awesome.
whole family. Thanks. But you know, once you do it, you're like, what took me so long? There's so much more out there. It's crazy how we really do contain ourselves to like our environments. I don't do that anymore. If you like were to call and I'm available and say, let's go on this adventure, I'm down to go.
Right? It's like, it's that, what's the best thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? You know, and usually there's always something fun and interesting and a memory that's made that you can take with you forever. I also appreciate that you were talking about that knowledge, you know, like what you learn, no one can take that away from you. A lot of people have this idea of what success is and what they they think they want, when really it's just all of this programming and these narratives and ideologies that we get in our head. And suddenly we're like these robots and zombies,
Yeah.
not really living the life that we want, more living a life of what others desire and thought we should have. And so you were able to break free from that. And I think that that inspires people, it gives permission, for others to do that, and realize that that story doesn't have to be the thing that defines you. It's more about tapping into your bliss. And it seems like you have tapped into your bliss. What are some of your, well, first, really quick, I want to take notice of your boutique in the back. So tell us a little bit about that, because I've noticed that you have some celebrity clients where you do like gift packages or something like that. So I don't know if there was anything, I'm just kind of curious. And I think that the closet looks super fabulous. It's like something on like Housewives of Orange County or something.
I started out styling, right? So I did costume film, styling, celebrities. But also in the styling world, I became friends with a lot of other stylists, because we come together and we complain and talk about our challenges and our clients, and because a lot of us have like crazy clients, right? Yeah. So through this journey, again, I was a stylist, and during my journey styling, I discovered the business side of styling. So there is in styling they work together. They're called, there's a lot of PR houses. We call them showrooms. And brands pay these PR houses to bring their product. Rooms can get placements for their branding. So I was going to start out as a rental showroom. That's what I wanted to do. So, because through my styling, I realized I don't want to be remember, I don't like to be told what to do. When you're a stylist, you're owned by your client. You don't have, they own you. They tell you when you can use the bathroom, it's crazy. So after like 4 years of that, you start thinking, how can I implement everything I've learned and make a business of it, right? So I decided when my sister passed away, she was living at my dad's house. So that house, we had to sell it. So again, here we are again, 5 years later, I'm getting another opportunity what am I going to do again now? So I decided to take that and invest it into my showroom. Took a year in planning. I knew the last job I worked at was at the Empty Vase, this very famous floral designer that has every client you can think of in the world. I was his right-hand person. I did all the meetings. I was meeting with multi-millionaire, you name it, and I hated it. He was so mean. And at that time, I knew that I was going to be getting a settlement. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play this game where I'm working for somebody else. What am I going to do? And I always like the business side of fashion. I'm kind of a business person. I like connecting people. I've always done that. I know who can go well, and, and they make a good relationship from it, you go. That's kind of, and that's why I was like, I should do a rental showroom for stylists to come pull for their clients, right? So that's kind of what I did. I invested all this product, and I got an intern, and through that journey, 2 brands contacted me to help them get placements. So I went on a whim, and I've already gotten placed in magazines, on celebrity clients. So now we are becoming a PR agency because it's happening, and it's happening fast. And we have a lot of things that are coming out real quick. So that's how that kind of came to be. And I'm excited, super excited. This is exactly where all those jobs, all that journey, it's led to here. This is it. I can feel it.
Exactly. It's like the catalyst, and all the momentum and all the work and time and energy and all of that is coming to a head now. And now you're getting to really see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
It's everything that it's almost like you had seen bits and pieces, but now suddenly it's getting real clear, or maybe it was, and then it manifested itself.
It was clear. It was clear in a way, but now this shift that came to me, I'm a believer. If I wasn't looking for it, it came to me, and we're making a lot of progress and success, and it's just coming so natural that this has to be. I'm not going to fight it. Here's one key in the business. I was always kind to people. Okay, people aren't kind anymore, but I always was. So now they're remembering that and they're coming here. And so it's really cool.
It's great that you touched on the word kind and kindness. Over there, there's a lot of superficialness. It's really hard to like count on people. You don't really know why they're interested in connecting with you. And then there's just a lot of dark stuff that happens there.
You have to be protective. There's a lot of opportunists. I'm having people come out of the woodworks now trying to, follow my clients. It's crazy, but again, it's going to go back to, I remember working at Jimmy Choo and one of my clients tried to steal, not my client, one of my colleagues tried to steal my work and claim it as his. It's coming now in this business, trying to contact my clients. And it's like, you know what? I've already been practicing for this. So again, you can't take what's in my head. You can try. But again, all that stuff prepped me now for my real life business. They're going to come when you start succeeding. Once you start hitting those celebrity clients, people don't want to see that sometimes. But I have such a good team near me. It's
so fantastic when you have other like-minded people and you start to attract people that are, coming from the same mindset that you're coming from and also have a similar heart, but that are also like excited and driven and like believe in what it is that you're doing. And so once you
support each other.
Absolutely, that's true, because then they also have other endeavors, and so y'all are all creating this synergy amongst each other to help propel one another. I was there for 12 years. I didn't realize I was going to be there for so long, but that was one thing that differentiated me and a lot of other people in the industry that I was in at that time. And a lot of the jobs that I got big jobs quickly through people that were saying, hey, check this girl, work with this girl. She's really easygoing. I treated, the lighting guy and the janitor and the director and everybody with the same level of respect. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not easy for a lot of people. They start that way and then they end up becoming bitter and jaded. And so I want to just honor you greatly for continuing to stay a kind, respectful person that honored integrity. And look where it got you. Kindness does pay.
Yeah. I got my biggest client, because of this guy who remembered me being nice to him while we both were assisting a celebrity stylist who was awful to us. And then that celebrity client poached him, was like, I want you as my assistant. When he went with her, guess who he called to come help me? And now he's the one that helped me place that gift, like the gifting and stuff, and I told him, I was at their house yesterday. I was like, you're helping me catapult, you believed in my agency. And he's like, of course, Val, that's what we do. And it was just like, this is the kind of people you need around. This is what I used, like a few years ago, I'd kind of let everyone around me, not anymore whatsoever at all. If you're not cheering, and you don't need to be around me. And I think that is where you start to rise above. Who do you keep around you? Your circle. That is so important to me. So important. If you are toxic, if you make me feel anything uncomfortable, unfortunately, I'm cutting you off. Family too.
Exactly. Get that hatchet.
That's where it all started. That's where I started seeing so many crazy, beautiful things start to happen when I finally started saying and setting boundaries and cutting people off. I used to be too much cared what you thought. Oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings, or what if they get upset? Now I'm like, you did this. I don't need it. I wouldn't do that to you. So if you're doing it to me, no. I have a big philosophy, like, life's hard. Why make it harder? So why am I going to keep people around in my life that are going to make it harder? That's like a no-brainer. And I'm talking even family too. Like, I've had to let some very toxic family members out of my life because they were just not serving the way I was treating them. So why?
Yes, it's when you restore your self-worth and you understand your value and you create healthy boundaries. That's all part of self-care and self-love, and that self-respect and self-dignity becomes super important. And I think discernment also comes with maturity and learning a lot of tough lessons. Like you and I was a people pleaser also, and so it's something that I had to keep in check. And now I'm realizing, and also going to what you were saying about saying yes to everybody, like anybody that was coming in my circle wanting to collaborate with me or wanting to do things and support me or doing something, and say, hey, I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize the importance of choosing wisely and also discerning and taking some time and making sure that this is a person that's, in alignment with you in all the ways that are necessary for it to bear a fruitful experience and a joyful
Yeah.
one. Even though there's going to be little hiccups, we're not talking, Valerie and I are not talking about going into something and everything has to be perfect and it'll always be perfect. It's not that. So explain what I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the case. It's not perfect, but it's really, I'm not trying to sound, but it's really about the energies. Like you said, everything in alignment. And when you really start tapping into what like makes you happy, you can feel those energies that aren't serving you. And very, what do you call it? That it's not discernment, I guess, in a way. You just can, it changes. And I can feel it real quick.
I love it. That girl, you are like dialed into your intuition and your instinct. You're in a state of harmony, like you're synergized, you're like, yeah, you're in tune with your true self, sister. And so that's a level of protection and wisdom and understanding that comes along with that self-work. That's the reward. And it's also the manifestation of more pleasure and peace that comes your way. It's from the inside out that you radiate, you know what I mean? And then you attract other little like fireflies and stuff, and then you get to illuminate your whole space with love and passion and excitement and wholeness and goodness and support, like you said, finding that team so you can support each other.
That's how you make a healthy environment for yourself. You can start feeling who's there for you. Can I work with this kind of person? Because like I said, when I'm not feeling it, or that person has a certain energy or attitude that's just nasty, I don't keep it around. I've turned down jobs when I've needed money for that own reason, because protecting my peace is so important.
Yes, that's my motto. It's like my peace is my priority, and I think it's super awesome that you're brave enough to, once you sense it, that you nip it in the bud. And people also are afraid to really speak up, and people think they have to do it in a rude way. There's a lot of narcissists in Los Angeles, there's a lot of narcissists all around the world, you know what I mean? And they're bullies, we'll just call them that. There's a lot of bullies. And
I've been bullied many times over here. Very toxic managers, slamming their fists on the desk, telling me that I would never make it as this or that. And, you hear it all. And then but in that aspect too, I never took it personal, because I'm like, it's you, not me. You're the one that's miserable, or you wouldn't be this way. But that took a long time to get there as well.
You had built a tough skin and a thick skin in a lot of different ways, which I think really helped you in California, which ended up happening to me too.
From your time, your content, what you want, exactly. But I feel like all those jobs and stuff was training. It's all training for where, like for now, for where you're, and this is not for, again, for me forever. I have other aspirations, but right now at this moment, I feel for the first time in a long time, just like at peace where I should be.
That's so beautiful. I love it. And as far as purpose, what would you like to say about purpose? And sorry,
we're always trying to find our purpose. But for my daily purpose, what I try to target on is just to inspire others. I love sharing my story. I love opening doors for others. And there's just so much joy in it. There really is, that you had a part of that hand. Not like I did that, not at all. Just to be able to do that for others. I love it. So I think that's my purpose, is just to inspire and really help others. I came from basically absolutely nothing. My dad lived paycheck to paycheck, and just to be here and help and mentor, because I do a lot of mentoring. It's so much fun. So I feel like that's my purpose in here, is just that, I mean, life's so short, and we're here one day, we're gone, and then people, they kind of forget, but not when you made others feel good. And to me, and that's one thing my sister did. And at her funeral, everyone spoke of that. And so that was a big revelation for me. What are you doing? Because that's what they're going to remember. So I just feel like just being an inspire, working hard on all the right things, not material things. So
yes. And you also inspire people you also inspire others in body image and positive body image, and really embracing And I love that about you too. And I think more and more people need to recognize that beauty comes in all shapes and
All
sizes and
shapes and
colors.
sizes. Yep. And just because if you are plus size like me, it doesn't mean that you have to, your whole life is I got to lose weight. It's a journey. Sometimes you'll lose the weight, other times you'll gain it, but you're still beautiful no matter what. And it shows. And I know so many women of all sizes that are just gorgeous. And I love also to like empower that and make you feel beautiful. That's why I like to put on cute outfits and take photos. So other women who may have been feeling bad about their body, then will be like, man, what's wrong? Like, I need to get out there and feel good too. And it really is a fun thing. I just have fun. I just love inspiring others. I really feel like that's kind of what, my purpose is.
Are there any last words that you would like to share with our viewers before we wrap up this beautiful episode? And of course, also let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. In your space where you work, it is so important. I'm just going to kind of flip my computer so you can kind of see, to just have like positive quotes around you. Things, I got those printed up and I look at them every day just to remind myself, like, one says old ways won't open new doors, just those little things to keep around you. Even I have like a little mini mood board in front of me of just good affirmations. Those are so important. Just be kindly to yourself. Be very protective who you keep around you. That is, like, to me, so important. And this is something that probably most people haven't done, but for me, this, I think, inside has really helped me. I've been abstinent. I've been practicing it for 6 years. So I haven't been with anybody. And I just feel so clear-minded. And I feel like that helps tap in too, because those can distract you when you're having relationships, when you're not committed, and, those kind of things can really be detrimental to your soul. I believe in like energies being passed and things like that. So through this journey, I've kept celibate. I have been single and focused, and that's kind of what's helped me. So maybe any of those little tips can help you.
That's beautiful. That sexual energy is creative energy. It's very powerful energy. So when we do keep it for ourselves, it illuminates a lot inside of us, and it gives you the energy and the power and the creativity to direct it in a different way. And also too, it allows you to really honor your body in a more sacred way. And I think when you see your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul as a treasure and as a gift, and of course that's humbly, because there's some people that say that, and there's like there's sort of an arrogance to it, and that's not what this is about. This is about being rooted in humility, but also owning your greatness and your allness and your mightiness and all that you're able and capable of doing if you just set your mind to it. Earlier, you mentioned manifestation mindset and mood boards and stuff, and you just kind of gave us a little glimpse of your area, and I love it. I just shared a little video, I think yesterday before yesterday, of my workspace, and how putting meaning and things like that make you smile is always a good thing. And to help you relax. Is there anything you would like to mention that you didn't already? I'm not sure if we touched on that whole manifestation mindset.
I mean, no, I feel like when I really started putting it into actual practice, I think the past year, it really does change everything. Writing down your goals, being grateful, like literally the smallest thing, like having hot water, I always say, thank you, God, for the clean to wash my dishes. Thank you for letting me wash my clothes. Like, I show gratitude in everything. Thank you for always keeping our fridge overflow. Because those are blessings. And when you are grateful for it, other grateful things happen. So that's me. That's not today. This has been my journey. But they can find me at the 626 Fashion House, where they can follow, the fashion, fun stuff like that. But to my personal page, I guess would be more my Facebook at Valerie Pineda.
That really is a key ingredient to abundance, is gratitude. People would be very surprised, but it is a very nice. It's magic. It's so magical. Yes. And I've noticed how that has impacted, my life, and so many people touch on it. And it really is part, I feel, like our spiritualness. And it's all those little things, like you said before, just as simple as warm water and having a bed. So I thank you greatly for being, speaking of gratitude, I thank you greatly for being one of those individuals that is practicing gratitude. And I'm sure you're also exemplifying it to others, which is,
oh yes,
it ripples out. It's all that kindness that you were touching on earlier.
Yeah, it definitely is a domino effect. That's why I have a good circle around me. We all have the same mindset, and all my friends are doing so good. Like everyone's calling me, I got a promotion, I'm now doing this with this campaign. I'm like, oh Val, you're in the right place, because if your circle's all leveling up, that means you're with the right people. Like you all are coming together. So
fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Valerie. I appreciate your time and all of the lovely words of wisdom that you shared with us today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. So much fun. And we'll talk soon. Bye.
And thank you everyone for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. Your likes, shares, and follows are greatly appreciated because they help spread the love. Subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channel for more mindful content. Tune in next week for another power-packed episode of P3, when you'll meet another individual who's tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. Till next time, peace be in us.